Hey, hi, hello, welcome to the first episode of the Flirty Fibre podcast. My name is Isabella, I'm 21 and I am studying a Bachelor of Design and a Bachelor of Secondary Education at UNSW here in Sydney, Australia. Before I start, I'd like to acknowledge that today I'm coming to you from stolen and unceded Bidjigal land. Always was, always will be. I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners as well as elders past, present and emerging, and also extend my respect to any Aboriginal or Indigenous people watching, listening, crafting with us today. So a little bit about me. I have been crafting since I was old enough. My grandma taught me how to sew, how to knit, how to crochet, and a little bit in my design degree I've done some spinning, some weaving, machine knitting. What else have I done? I've done screen printing, heat press, all of that kind of good stuff. Kind of got into knitting maybe when I was 7 or 8, but I definitely started crocheting first. Just started off with a really super long chain. I did a whole 50-gram thing of cotton that my grandma bought me from Spotlight, and just made a skipping rope with it because that's all I could do. And then probably the next year after that I got those little weekly or monthly magazine kits with the crochet and started doing granny squares. I got really good at those, and then I started to use that fabric to make little figurines before I knew anything about amigurumi or plushies of that kind. So I've been crafting for a long time, and in my degree I'm specializing in ceramics and graphic design. Graphic design isn't really my strong suit, I don't think, in terms of the way I enjoy mediums for my creative outlet. I don't think that it really fulfills that sense of creativity. I'm a very hands-on person, and for seeing all of that online, I know you can do like screen grabs and like time lapse and that kind of stuff. I like to have the material process, to see the start and the finish, the raw materials, and so without conscious thought, the graphic side of things doesn't really do it for me. And in terms of knitting, I got back into knitting probably the end of last year, so 2021. I had bought a bat of fibre to spin from the House of Wool in the Blue Mountains. It was like pink, very beautiful, and I only had a drop spindle. Spun up a bit of that and plied it, and started knitting from this pattern book. And then when that wasn't working out for me, I did a different pattern in this book and I made my first cardigan, and it kind of like really sparked I'm really want to make something that I can wear, because before that I'd probably only made like blankets and all of those kind of functional homewares with the crochet and also with the knitting, and not much garment making. So yeah, kind of since then, since finishing it, I got that little dopamine rush when I finished it. I was like, oh my god, I can make things that I can actually wear and enjoy, and when I go out I can go, yeah, I made this. So since then, today is September 1st, 2022, so in Australia here it's the first day of spring. So for the last 9 months really I've been knitting non-stop, and I've made a few things. To bit of background into why I would like to start podcasting and why we're here today is I don't see a lot of early 20s people knitting, and there's not really that outlet for younger people to find community knitting, you know, there's always been that misconception that, oh, that's an old person's thing, or the retirees, you know. But I've been really inspired by people like Emily from High Fibre Knits, Florence from Handmade by Florence, and Brooke from Popsicle Frog. All of their podcasts are amazing, all their videos are amazing, and it's just really nice to see other young people enjoying knitting as much as I do, and getting lots of connection out of sharing with you guys on YouTube. That being said, there's only so much I can talk to my family about knitting before they get bored out of their brain. So I thought, why not make my own podcast and talk to you guys about my knitting. If I'm looking down, I've got a page of notes so I don't forget anything. I don't know how often I'm gonna be doing these videos. I guess it's kind of just until I make a bit of progress. Maybe it's every 2 weeks, maybe it's every month. Today will be an August wrap up and September/spring plans kind of video. And then following the normal kind of format so that I can remember as we go along. I watch a lot of these videos. I find them very relaxing as I'm doing my own knitting. I like to have that background noise. I'm very interested in what other people are doing, and I definitely gain a lot of inspiration about what patterns people are knitting. It's a little difficult considering I'm in the Southern Hemisphere and everyone, or mostly people in the knitting community, are in the Northern Hemisphere, so we're going into spring and everybody else is moving into autumn and winter. But basically, yeah, let's get started. So for finished objects, I have one finished object for August. I've been on a bit of a sock kick, but I have no socks for the month of August. So this is the Klee sweater by Midori Hirose, with this checkered kind of yoke construction. It was top down in the round. This was actually my first top down yoke in the round pattern I've ever made. Not my first colorwork, but definitely my first colorwork yoke. Really enjoyable, really fun to knit. This part went super quickly. I knit the size M2. I've got an 100 to 105 centimeter bust, so it's like a 39.5 to a 40.5 inch bust. So the M2 is kind of a little less positive ease than the pattern recommends, but fits really nicely. I'll show you in a minute. What I did was this section, actually, where the bottom of the yoke depth is adjustable here, and it's got like the raglan increases here. I had to knit this twice because when I split for the sections like a dummy, I didn't double check and I was getting in the groove of things. I got all the way down to the where you do the armhole and realized I had only done 3 sets of increases, so I missed like one kind of back section, which was a total fail. So I had to rip all of that back and start again, but I did it in a day, so I think it was fine. But yeah, so for the yarn I used, where is my thing here? I actually used the Bidjigal Woolen Mills. I don't know if you can see that in there. Bidjigal Woolen Mills. This was their 3-ply 100% wool. And they sell these as 500 gram cones. However, I bought, when I weighed it with the cone, it was about 230 or 40 grams with the cone when I bought it. So it was about 200 grams of yarn. So I made the jumper a cropped length. and this was kind of all I had left from that. But I got this for $2 at Roselle Markets in the inner west of Sydney. And so that's what I used for the main colour of this jumper. And then for the yoke, I used a whole bunch of sock yarn that I had either from, I had made socks or I had made something else, or leftovers. My Ravelry project page isn't up to date, but I've got a 3 Cats yarn, this one here called Sophie's Sock. Yep, that was one of the first ones. I also have from 3 Cats yarn, I had their Magnolia mini skein set, which includes like this cuff color here, and these other ones here, which are really pretty, and they're all very soft. These are all 75 superwash merino, 25% nylon, so the whole yoke and the cuffs feel the same. The body is 100% merino. The neck is a little itchy, but everywhere else is fine. I also had from Lovely Little Yarns, I have their sock micros in Boysenberry Swirl, and this came with 10, and I used 2, 4, 7 of them here, all very nice pinky purpley colors there. Oh, and I had this one as well, that was from them, so 8 of those. I lost the label for this one, but I bought it in Canberra for one of their wool expos from 3 Mums Yarn, and this one is the color Cherry Blossom. Very beautiful. I made a pair of socks out of these, so that's why that is like that. And then from Blackwattle Fibres, which I also bought in Canberra, I have their Mallee 4-ply, which is their sock yarn base, and this is the color Flourish, and that's their label there. And from these guys I also got this purple mini skein, which I used for that as well. And then my first ever hand-dyed yarn was from the Jokomomo textiles, and this one is in the color Black Forest Gâteau. And the last color was actually with this color. I made a little mini skein cake holder with the other color that there was like a duo from the Black Forest Gâteau that went together. So I used those as well in this one here. In terms of needle sizes, I went up. So there's 3 needle sizes listed, which are 2.75, 3, and 3.75. 3.75. Sorry, the lighting's a little bit weird. And then so I did 3.25, 3.5 for the main body, and 4.5 for the yoke. I think my gauge before that, using the recommended needle size, was probably 4 stitches too many per 10 centimeters. So that's why I did that. Loved this pattern, so fun to knit. Like I said, the inside turned out really even once I blocked it. Weaving the ends was a bit annoying, but we did that. I'm still yet to cut the little leftovers, but they don't really annoy me, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it was my first time doing a sleeve, a tapered sleeve, so I didn't really get the concept of every 6, was it 6 and then increase, or increase on the 6th one? And I think that's just my naivety, not the clearness of the pattern. So it was a bit uneven on the first sleeve, and then so I just turned it over and you can see the increases and stuff like along here, and so I just copied it. I put a stitch marker, light bulb stitch marker, in each one on the first sleeve and recreated it on the second sleeve. And then obviously if this was all I had left, I didn't really want to play yarn chicken and do like the whole sleeve and then not be able to finish the other one. So what I did was incorporate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of the 18 colors that I had for the yoke in the sleeves. So I had 1 decrease and then the 10 or 2 decreases maybe, and then the plain rows that they have you do before the cuff, and then the cuff in the contrasting color as well. So they're kind of like a bracelet length, and then it's kind of cropped. I'll just put it on for you and then we can have a look. And in case you couldn't tell, my favorite color is pink. Yeah, so this is the sweater. I love the way it fits around the shoulders, and there's a nice bit of positive ease there underneath the armpits. I think I could have gone shorter, but obviously because this is my first one, I didn't really know what I liked in a raglan style sweater. And then these are the sleeve details, and it kind of goes up to about here. So my belly button is like here, it's just above the belly button, and a straight body, which I really like. And I like cropped things, so I think it's great for me, and also it's long enough to tuck into the very top of a high-waisted pant. Oof. Beautiful. Oh, and funny story, this was actually on hold for about 2-ish weeks. I started it actually on the way to Bidjigal Fibre Festival, which I made my mum come with me. It's the first time I had ever been, and I didn't really know about it until I went down to Canberra at this wool expo they were having, and I heard someone else talk about it, and I was like, oh my god, that sounds really cool, like something I would definitely want to do. Yeah, and so I cast that on in the car. We drove from Sydney to Bendigo, and we stopped in Albury Wodonga, but I was probably 6 to 10 rows away from the colour work on the sleeve, so probably about here, and I had come home and the dog had eaten the wooden Chalgo interchangeable needle tips that I had on there in the 3.5, and I didn't have another set of 3.5 millimeter needles, so I was like umming and ahhing, and I ended up actually casting something on in the meantime while I was waiting to see whether like I could find them. The place that I would normally go to get them didn't have any of these wooden ones, so I had to order them from Sunspun, which wasn't a big deal. I just placed an order with some other little goodies, but we can talk about that later. Yeah, so that was on hold for a couple of weeks, and while that was on hold, I actually cast on, so it brings us into whips. I cast on, whoa, everything going flying. I cast on the Soufflé by Laura from Penrose Knits. This is her. And so for this one, what was I going to say? This one, I've done the I-cord. I haven't found a button that I like yet, but I've done the I-cord and I've done the ruffle and the yoke, and I'm going to do the long sleeve version. So I've got quite long arms, so it might take a little while, but yeah, we're kind of at the elbow or past the elbow onto the forearm kind of section. My hand is over here. So a little ways to go. For the yoke, I did a double strand the whole way. Not because I didn't like the sheer part of the design. I actually really like that, and I plan to make another one in a different color. But the yarn I had originally intended on using for this project is this huge cone of pink yarn from Wangaratta Woolen Mills. It's a pure wool kind of machine knitting cone. The yarn is lace weight. Yeah, and I picked this up. I was in Parks in central west New South Wales, kind of like outback Australia. And I saw this at a Vinnie's with a bunch of other cones, and they were selling them for $1 each, and I was like, that would be way too rude not to. It's like 500 grams. It's a very thick boy. Yeah, it just says shade 16438, which I don't know if that means anything to anybody in there. So I needed a mohair to pair with it. I really like the fuzzy look of that. So when I was in Bendigo, I picked up from Wagtail Yarns this 100% fine merino 2-ply in 100 grams. So it comes with 760 meters or 830 yards, which is a whole lot of yarn. It's got a really nice, I don't know if you can see, it's got a nice halo, but it's not too fluffy where you're like eating fluff, which is great. And then this one is in the shade Pale Pink, and as you can see, beautiful drape. It's gonna lay perfectly off the shoulders, and a floofy sleeve. That's gonna be great. At the moment I've got it attached to a little ball, which without silk, look how freaking shiny that is. So gorgeous. Love that. Oh, by the way, I hand wound this. It was a chore. Yeah, so I didn't want the yoke and then the body after the ruffle to be like two different colors, because as you can see, they're kind of not like an exact match, because obviously I forgot to bring my little swatch of this, like a big dummy, and just had to guess. But the couple that run Wagtail Yarns were so lovely, and I got a whole bunch of things from them. Their website's great, and you can order like the little cards of say you have one color that you like. So if I wanted pale pink, I could get like a swatch of all their different yarns in that color, which I think was amazing. Or just this, I could get this mohair and a sample of all the pinks or all the purples, which I would obviously get the pink. And they they gave me some samples as well. They have like a 7-ply merino mohair blend, and they've got like a bunch of different things. But yeah, anyway, tangent. For this is my first time doing a fold over hem. I think it looks pretty neat. I steam block this with the iron, just the body before I did the arm, so that I knew that if this was what I wanted, which made the stitches really relax a little bit. You can kind of tell because of the properties of the yarn where I've kind of attached it, but I think pretty good for my first go. And you know what, knitting's not perfect. We're here to have fun and to enjoy, and if something really bothers me, I'm going to go back and fix it, but this doesn't bother me too much. And I think once I wet block it, which should look fine, and if it doesn't, you know, I can go back and fix it. So easy on that. Like I said before, I've got 100 to 105 centimeter bust, so I chose size 4 for this one. So within the 2 to 4 inches of positive ease for this, except what happened was, I'll insert a picture, but I spent all day, I exaggerate, not all day, probably 3 or 4 hours working on the sleeve, and I got down to probably here, you'll be able to see anyway, and I just wasn't happy. It was too puffy, and like, I'm always very conscious of what my arms look like in clothes, and it just wasn't for me. I was like, you know what, I really like the look of this, but I think I need a little bit straighter sleeve, because I'm doing long sleeves and I don't want all of this fabric like bunched around my wrist. I'm thinking I've got a very trans-seasonal wardrobe, and going into education, I want things that I'll be able to wear in the classroom, and that's just probably not practical, having all of this bunching if I needed to wear like a jacket or something over the top. I don't like how full that feels. So I was like, you know what? I had a bit of a breakdown. I was crying and I was like, this is so frustrating. I didn't want to frog it, but I also wasn't going to be happy if I continued. So I decided to frog it, and then went back and you can probably see, did a row of decreases around the whole, which I probably decreased 5 or 6 stitches, and then 2 at the seam. So knit 1, decrease, knit till you've got 3, decrease and knit 1 every 2 rows twice, and then like in a 4th row, and then I just knit straight from there, which in hindsight, if I had more knowledge about, or if I read the pattern all the way through and then started the project, I probably would have realized, hey, maybe let's not do the I think there is a row of armhole increases. I could have just omitted that and not done it, and then I would have been sweet, but I was too eager to get this on, get this working so I can wear it for spring with a little skirt, you know, that I didn't read that. So this is my first whip. It's going well, and I think we're on track to finishing it shortly. It's been put on the back burner. I've been having too much fun with my other whip, which I'll show you now. Yeah, so this is a lovely Soufflé by Penrose Knits. Put this aside here. And then my second whip is the Ingrid Sweater by Penrose, but not by Penrose Knits, by Petite Knit. All tongue-tied. Yeah, so I have done, I'm up to the mock cables on the body of this one here, and this is knit in the size extra large using the Malabrigo Rios in Pearl 10. So this is a kettle dyed pure merino wool, and it is a worsted weight, but it is only 210 yards per 100 grams. So not a lot of yarn. It's a single, really beautiful. It actually smells really nice, which some people might find weird, but I really like the smell of different kinds of wools, and this one smells really nice. So yeah, this is in the shade Pearl 10, which I also got from this lovely lady at Bidjigal in her shop, which I'll talk about later. But I got 5 skeins, and this is what 3 skeins gets you. So I've done the neck, and I've done all of this here, which obviously it will really stretch out when blocking. It's a lovely variegated color, which I feel like adding a new skein, it's kind of really not going to matter because it's all kind of speckledy anyway, but this is my first time doing moss stitch, so it took up a lot of yarn, which I didn't know about. So I have ordered 2 more in the mail, hoping that 4 in total will get me 2 sleeves and the rest of the body, which I only have the mock cable section and then the double ribbing section and then like the bind off, which I can alter the double ribbing to make it shorter anyway, give it a bit more of a cropped length. Yeah, so we'll see how we go. If not, like, I'll undo my swatch, and like I've got a stack of the like things that you tie the skein together, like the little offcuts, all split spliced together, to do like my bind offs and stuff. Yeah, which I think I'll be fine. And then if I need to order a 3rd one, so 5, 6, 7, an 8th skein, then I can go and do that. But it's a little bit expensive here in Australia. Like, these ones were on sale, and I think I spent like $80 for 5 skeins, and normally they're like $24 plus per skein, then plus shipping. So a little bit more expensive than I had anticipated, but really love the finish of this, so rather have it finished than sitting unfinished and me being unable to wear it before we start to get really hot. I'm a little bit concerned about the look of the collar, but I looked on Ravelry and lots of other people's before they blocked it, kind of looked similar. It looks a bit sad, similar to mine, but I don't know whether I would, still to decide yet, whether I want to, like, I could just rip it back and turn it into a double folded, double ribbed neckband, or I could honestly just turn this over. Like, this is, it goes from double rib to an eyelet and then to 1 by 1, and I could just turn it over, which wouldn't bother me at all. So this is super nice. Yeah, look, in terms of difficulty and things that have come up, which is really interesting because the front yoke chart for my size that I'm doing extra large, I think there's 15 pattern repeats in the back section, but I had 16. But then the front had 16 repeats, and I ended up with the right amount of stitches. So I was kind of confused whether I was reading it wrong for my size, or that, I don't know, that I had made some sort of mistake, but it's all worked out, which is excellent. Really fun to knit. I think I was starting to get a little bit sick of the moss stitch section on the body, just because the row, like the round, is so long. Like, I think I have 220 something plus stitches, so the rounds take me quite a long time, but it's great when I have a podcast to keep me company. It doesn't really phase me. It's quite methodical, quite meditative, but just getting a little sick of it. And then there was like the eyelet section, and then I got sick of purling, and now we're doing the cable section. Amazing. I think this pattern is great. I can't wait to wear it, and it is a nice oversized size where me, my mum and my sister will be able to wear it once it's finished. So super excited about that, and I've got it in this project bag here, which is super cute. It's got all of these delicious little pockets, which I've got all my Chowgu goodies in there, and some stitch markers. And this one is from Mavis Handmade. If that's focusing, focus. Beautiful. Yeah, they do an amazing job designing these, and I've got one of their little sheep stitch markers also that I use for my beginning of round. This project bag is awesome, except I was hoarding the Soufflé and the Ingrid in this, which is amazing that it fits both, but the bottom is all hairy with mohair, and I've got a few cats, so all of their hair as well collecting in this. But I mean, it wouldn't be a cat project bag without cat hair. So that is the Ingrid sweater, and it lives in here. Beautiful. So those are my whips. I don't normally buy that much yarn. Most of the yarn you see here I either bought at Bidjigal, and I have a purpose for it, which we'll get into our spring plans very soon, or they're things that I bought, like these ones up the top here. All the socks that I made are all scraps, still in cake form. Like I recaked them, which I plan to make another pair of socks, like even a shorties or something, with those. Yeah, but let's get into acquisitions. So when I had to buy the new needles, because these ones got chewed, I placed an order at Sunspun, and I got one of the Knit Pro knit blockers little sets with the little pins here to do some blocking. I love blocking socks. Didn't really see the point in blocking garments up until recently, nor swatching. The first cardigan I made didn't swatch for, but I did steam block it as according to the pattern. But had a really terrible attempt at a sweater vest prior to the end of last year, from a vintage pattern. The row gauge was completely off. It was like kitty size. So since then, apart from the cardigan that I made, because the yarn weight was exactly similar to the one that they had suggested in the pattern, and except for socks, I have swatched. So I've got my Soufflé swatch over here, and I've got behind me my Ingrid swatch, and I swatched for my other projects too. For the Klee sweater, I frogged the swatch so I could use the yarn for the armholes. I'm talking about acquisitions, not a story time about swatching. Anyway, blocked this sweater using the pins was amazing. Instead of like push pins or the T-pins you use for the interchangeable needle sets into the ironing board, those were great. Excellent upgrade for me. And just in time for me to wind up this, I got myself a Swift, which I'm very excited about because occupational health and safety hazard. Got myself one of these. This one was from Lumen Spindle. It was 70 Australian dollars, which is pretty cheap considering the Knit Pro one, the one that I originally wanted, is like 210 maybe. So this is probably just over half the price. However, the bit that attaches to the table isn't very strong, so I've had to put like a tea towel or something over the table, under the table, so that this is a little bit more secure. So in hindsight, I feel like you get what you pay for with these. Glad I found this one, because I was gonna get from Sunspun as well the Chalgu Amish style Swift, but then they went out of stock super quickly as soon as they got them, so didn't get one of those. Decided to get this instead, which was great because I only have, I don't know if you saw this tiny little ball left, and this probably took me an hour to wind up the original skein. So I'm so glad that I have the spindle now. And then other acquisition. I have this self-strapping sock yarn, which I am so excited for, by Half Baked Hand Dyed. So these guys, oh, where's my business card? I've lost it. They had a cute little sticker too. Oh no, it's here. False alarm. That's their info. This is Danny. A cute little sticker as well. Yeah, so they make, they've got an Etsy shop. I don't like supporting Etsy, but I saw these guys at Bidjigal, and I missed out on a self-strapping ball of yarn, which I had my heart set on. So severely disappointed when they had none left, or I think they had one yellow one, and I like yellow, but not for my feet. I just don't know why. But yeah, they have lots of different ones. This colorway is Obsession, and it was actually the colorway that won their competition that they had at Bidjigal. So I picked this up, and I was going to get it in hank form, but then I was actually like, you know what, I'll pay the extra. I'll get the gobstopper style. It's what I wanted. And obviously you're gonna pay people to wind it up so beautifully. Yeah, so this is a superwash merino nylon blend, and it says on a 60 stitch sock, which is what I do for vanilla socks. The colors are 6, 6, 6, 6, 4 different colors. So the bubblegum pink, the white, the mustard color, and then the reddish hot pink color as well, which kind of doesn't show. Yeah, that kind of shows more to what it looks like in real life. So I got that, and I also got this skein here, which is called Cinderella, and it's again merino nylon fingering weight yarn. So it's a light silver purpley kind of variegated yarn. This is actually a great segue into the next section of spring knitting plans. However, I bought this to go with, that's looking a bit empty now, all skewiff. This skein of lovely little yarns, sock yarn that I've been saving. I probably bought this early this year, probably February, which is gorgeous. It's called Hope. Again, 75/25. So I bought this to go with this one, but I kind of interpreted this as being a little bit more of that like medium purple lilac color rather than like a silvery blue tone. So I was going to use, I bought this one to go with this one, and they don't really match, so I'll probably make a pair of socks out of this one, or another Nurture Bralette, which I'll put the photo in there. I made one already, so might do that. But I also have the 52 weeks of socks book, so I might pick one out of there and make these. This is my star skein for the Stephen West MCAL. It is called, what is it called? Excuse me while I sing. Twists and Turns. It's about to get all of the little, what do you call it? The kits on Stephen and Penelope. They're just about to come out. And I intend to do this shawl make along. It'll be my first shawl. However, I bought yarn at Bidjigal to make a shawl, and another shawl over there for my mum. But this is going to be my first shawl. So I hope this variegated yarn goes with what Stephen West has envisaged for this MCAL. And then I'll get subsequent yarn to go with this because this one didn't work out. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that, or I intend to, in October, so I've got nothing else kind of planned. I'm gonna do that. I kind of saw that last year when I started watching Nitty Natty, and her one, and then the one from the previous year she was finishing, there was something wrong with it, and I was like, oh my god, that's perfect, I want to do that so bad. And I was very new to like Ravelry and like knit alongs and all of this kind of YouTube knitting community stuff. And so when I came across that, I was like, oh my god, that's so fun. Like, you'd be able to interact with so many different people and see everybody's progress, and all of that kind of stuff. And so I've been waiting. I didn't know when it was, but obviously I've worked out now that it's an October MCAL. So I plan to do that, which I'm very excited for. Other knitting plans. Okay. These are 2 silk mohair skeins from Zigo Zago, which was a beautiful lady I bought the Malabrigo yarn at Bendigo from. So I bought these at Bendigo as well. This one is called Boysenberry Ripple, and it is so beautiful. It's like a lavender, lilac, beautiful variegation, and you can see awesome halo on this one here. And I'm gonna hold this with this other mohair called Hellbore from the same people, which has got this beautiful deep purple silverish variegation. It's not quite as dark as it's showing right now, but it goes very nicely with this one. Yeah, look, there you go. That's kind of like the right sort of coloring. This one's more grayish and this one's definitely brighter. But when you hold them together, if I can get it to hold together, well, they look quite good. Purpley, bright, excellent. So I'm going to, well, I plan to make the Bohm Null vest by Cookie the Knitter. So I hope I said that right. It's in my Ravelry queue. So that's the next thing I want to make. And because I only have 2 skeins, and these are approximately 420 meters each, so if I held it double, it just 420 meters. I'm gonna knit a smaller size and have it be tight. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. I'll pop some of this stuff away, and then we will cut to when I'm got everything organized. Now everything is back to where it needs to be. The next project I would like to knit for spring, or in September, is the Teardrop Crop by Joan Ho. Amazing. I'll obviously pop a photo here. Amazing, cute little, I think cute little beach top, cute with a denim skirt. Cute. That's all I can think of. I'm gonna use this Rosabella Bellissima 8-ply, which is a 72% kid mohair, 24% fine merino, and 4% cotton. So I've got 2 skeins of these. So these are 50 grams each. I don't know if it's going to be enough to make the I-cord. However, it'll be enough to make the top, which I'm super excited about, and it feels super soft, which I think next to skin, as a bra, as a cute little top, I think this would be perfect. And also loving the color. Super cute. It's got like these lighter pink and bubblegummy with a nice peach undertone, which I think would be quite nice. So I'm going to do that. And then with my 50 grams left that I've got of the Sophie's Garden 3 Cats yarn sock yarn. Geez, sorry. I'm going to, or I plan to, make the ruffle socks by Petite Knit. Yeah, I've got a lot of vanilla socks. I haven't made a cable pair of socks yet, even though I love cables. Haven't made a cable pair yet, so I intend to make the ruffle socks using that yarn there that I just threw on the floor by accident, but we're not going to get it. It's fine. Yeah. Something else I intend to make in spring, which isn't out yet, so when it does come out, I'll be very excited to make it. It's the Skort. I don't know the exact name, but Florence from Handmade by Florence is currently doing, she's in the middle of her testing for her pattern. It's like the Sporty Skort or something, which is so gorgeous. And I want to use this gorgeous yarn to make the skirt portion and just omit the shorts. Yeah, super excited about that. And that's what I want to use this bad boy for, because I couldn't quite find anything else really that I wanted a 80% mohair, 20% merino DK something for 400 meters. Looked on Ravelry. If anyone can find a nice pattern that I could use this bad boy for instead of the skirt, so I can make the skirt in white with the shorts, let me know, because this is just awesome. Yeah, which I also got from Bidjigal, so super excited about that. Other potential knitting plans. I don't think I'm a seasonal knitter. I haven't knit for 12 months straight yet, so I'm not sure. But I also knit the Nurture bralette in the middle of winter, so I don't think I'm a seasonal knitter. So I'm very excited when they come out to make the Eclair sweater by Penrose Knits, as well as the Cargill sweater by Rebecca from the Creator Bayer. I love those two ladies, love their podcast, I love these two designs. Super excited to make those. So yeah, that's kind of my intention for the next couple of months and the things that I want to make. Probably next time we chat, either I've started the ruffle socks or I finished them. Hopefully finished both my beautiful whips. And I've got some more things on the needles working away, and some more yarn for the Stephen West MCAL to show you once everybody knows kind of what yarns are suggested, I think. That's the only way you can kind of really tell, I guess, which a bit anxiety inducing. However, I think it'll be a fun test of my knitting skills and also my patience. Yeah, so thank you for sitting down and having a chat with me. I hope you got some rows in on your knitting. I'd love to know what you're currently knitting, so let me know in the comments. Give this a thumbs up, obviously, if you liked it, and if you liked sitting down and chatting with me. Yeah, I plan on making more videos, not just podcasts, but more videos in general. Maybe I'll make a Stephen West MCAL vlog, make it with me. Yeah, so stay tuned. Yeah, if you like this video, give it a like. Comment down below where you're from. I'd love to meet you all. hoping to find some other younger knitters as well that we can maybe make an Instagram group. Also, on the note of Instagram, you can find me at the.girly.dinosaur, which is my like uni creative Instagram where you can see like all of my ceramic stuff, or you can follow me on at Flirty Fibre to see all of my knitting things, which is what we're here for. Yeah, start an Instagram group, we can get chatting in the comments below. Yeah, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, a lovely evening, a lovely morning, afternoon. Yeah, and I hope to see you all back here very soon. See you later.